everybody. This video is in response to Hank Green's video, Where are the Space Aliens? According to Carl Sagan, Earth is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. That's not very positive if you ask me. Sagan also thought that there were over 1 million advanced civilizations in our galaxy alone, with about 10 trillion spread across the universe. The Drake equation, which was strangely enough created by a man named Frank Drake, attempts to quantify the number of advanced civilizations, taking into account size of stars and habitable zones. It was Sagan and Drake who actually beamed a message up to M13, which is a globular cluster of about 250,000 stars in the Hercules constellation. Other scientists, like Peter Ward and Donald Brownlee, think that Earth is rather rare. In fact, they even wrote a book about it called, imaginatively enough, Rare Earth. After all, for a planet to sustain life, it requires a whole lot of really complex and interacting systems, including, but not limited to, the carbon, oxygen, calcium, sodium, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur cycles. Not to mention size, composition, structure, atmosphere, temperature, and internal dynamics of the planet. You also need anywhere between 16 and 26 different elements to create life, with carbon and water being the key. And yes, for those of you who are wondering, I am aware that dihydrogen monoxide is a molecule and not an element. Just saying. And not all planetary systems have these elements in the necessary forms or quantities. In fact, globular clusters like M13 have about a 0% chance of actually containing intelligent life because, number one, globular clusters are really old, and they no longer contain many of the heavy elements required to actually form planets, let alone life. Star clusters are also far too densely packed to allow for circular orbits, which are required for environmental stability. The shape of a galaxy also matters. Only spiral galaxies actually contain safe zone, far away from those evil life-sucking supernovas, but still close enough to the center in order to contain the heavy elements required to form planets. Fun fact! Nearly every galaxy has a massive black hole in the middle of it. Our galaxy happens to be in the top 1 to 2% of all galaxies when it comes to massive luminosity. Luminous. Which equals more gravity, which equals heavy elements, which equals the ability to build planets. And even if you have a planet that exists within the safe zone of a galaxy, the odds are against having a circular orbit that stays fully within the habitual zone of its solar system. Insert the word habitable there. Not to mention the importance of the size of the sun and the fact that we need a moon to control our tides and therefore continue the circle of life. The point that I'm trying to make is even if there are advanced civilizations out there, I think the odds of us ever actually meeting up with them are really tiny, like microscopic. And who's to say that they'd ever actually want to meet up with us? See, people tend to wonder what they'd do to us, but I'm a bit more scared of what we'd do to them. I would also like to add at this point that the Earth is really rare, if you hadn't picked up on that. And I tend to think that we should look after it, because it's probably all we've got. We'll return to our regular programming next week, and I'll see you then. Bye! Did I get that right? Yes! My brain hurts. Does your brain hurt? And they no longer contain many of the environmental stability. Environmental stability. Which means I can't do this. Yeah. And no one will ever see the unedited version of this. And the fact that we need a moon in order to control our titles. We have titles. Also, for those of you who've been asking, my username is pronounced Igneous Moon. Goodbye.